education, along with being a noble profession, is a daunting and a challenging task. In the present era, with the advent of new methodologies in teaching and the way digital and smart learning has made inroads into the field of education, the role of educators has also greatly evolved. Today, a teacher is faced with the arduous task of keeping himself or herself abreast with the latest inventions. Upgrading their skills and knowledge from time to time is thus necessary and is an utmost priority today. This talk show will focus on some of the main challenges faced by the Indian educators, including the quality of research, matching market demands, and attracting and retaining high quality faculty. Moreover, the talk will also discuss broad strategies such as developing an educational ecosystem, evolving learner-oriented curriculum, and driving efficiencies in the current educational system to deliver best-in-class talent and support a growing economy. In this session, we have invited a distinguished expert to talk about the challenges for educators of the next generation. It is my pleasure and an honor to welcome and introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Mala Tandon. Dr. Mala Tandon is a professor at Amity University of Education, UP. She is a PhD in education with proficiency in French and English. She has a vast experience of more than 25 working years in the field of education as master trainer and administrator at several teacher education institutes of Lucknow, having held positions as the head of institution, director and deputy director of reputed teacher training institutes. Her areas of interest are quality education, special education, effective teacher training, educational psychology, and teacher development, focusing on the role of educators and teachers and their contribution in creating effective citizens. Dr. Tandon has organized events, presented papers, and chaired sessions at many national and international conferences, seminars, workshops, and training programs. She has a number of published papers to her credit, both in national and international journals. Dr. Mala Tandon is actively involved with many reputed NGOs, educational and social organizations working in the field of education, training of teachers, mother and child health and welfare, special schools and daycare centers, and is also a resource for government and non-government organizations. Dr. Tandon is also associated with many journals of repute as a reviewer and member of editorial board. Warm welcome to you, Mala ma'am.
Thank you, Mudita. Very good evening to everyone. Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. I'm humbled.
Thank you for joining us here, ma'am. Our pleasure. So, Mala ma'am, according to you, what are the qualities that are required to be a great educator for the next generation learners?
Okay, Mudita, when I talk of the next generation learners and when we talk of the qualities as an educator, I think it is very, very important first and foremost to connect to the students. The connect is very important. One has to know the learners and then only we will be able to deliver, because the rapport has to be established and the bond that is required. Till the time that is established, the learners would not be ready to listen. So first, the teacher needs to establish that kind of a connect, and the educator also needs to go that extra mile to help the students, to support the students in all their endeavors, because that is what is required. The students, the learners of the future generation, the next generation, they are all, everything is available at a click of a button. But again, we have not been able to dispense with the teachers because the teachers go that extra mile. So that is what is required, I believe. And I think the concern, as I have always been saying, that when an educator is concerned about the student, then it is the mind and soul connect, heart and soul connect. It's not only the superficial relationship between a teacher and a taught, the learners. It is the involvement of the educator with the student's life and trying to make him a worthy citizen of the society. That's what I feel. And besides that, of course, the teachers need to have innumerable qualities, because educating the future generation, making them worthy citizens of the society, making them a thinking, reasoning, logical citizen is not that easy. And first and foremost, they need to listen. So once the teacher is able to connect to the students are listening to what the teacher is saying, then I think half the task is already done, because that's where it's a little tricky to connect with the students. They know
Correct.
too many things at the moment with this correct technology, with this fast pace that we are moving at. They're always there with
Said, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice. Connect and concern, two main ingredients to successful
Absolutely.
teaching.
A rapport, yes.
Thank you, ma'am. So, moving on, what are the main challenges, as per your experience, that the educators face during teaching the next generation learners? And how does technology contribute to the solution?
Okay, see, when we talk of the challenges, teaching now at the present time, with the technology at hand and the kind of various technological apps and the devices that we have, everything is there with the students. But the main challenge that comes in is the content that the students are watching, the information that the students are getting, because that is where the screening is required. And that is where I feel the values and the ethical part comes in, because the information is easily available. And the educators here connect that they ensure that the right direction is given to the students, so that they are able to gather the right kind of information, make use of the right kind of information. And with the technological advancement, with the net savvy and the techno savvy students, it's very important that we are able to catch hold of their attention and put them in the right path. That is what is important. Showing them the right direction, ensuring that they gather the right kind of knowledge and information. And this is one of the biggest challenge. And another challenge that the teachers face, I believe, is that they need to keep pace with the technology. They themselves have to be updated. They are the ones who everything is available, but then yes, it is for the teachers themselves to be updated and take care that they are also learners. They're not only teachers, they're not only educators, but they are learners along with the students, because this is the time where we cannot lag behind. It's not as I always say, that the yellowed notes now don't work. The teachers have to be abreast with all the latest technologies, the latest kind of things available online, so that the right direction is shown to the students. That's what I feel. I don't know, there may be many other opinions also, and showing the right path is what I emphasize on, because guidance is required. Children, after all, are our children. they need to be shown the direction. It's the
Very
moral
right, ma'am.
responsibility.
So unless the teachers keep pace with the changes that are happening, definitely they will see huge gaps between their understanding and the students. So definitely, teacher has to be the constant learner. That can be another takeaway from it.
Absolutely. No ways we can sit back and just go with our old yellowed notes and deliver in the classroom, because the students are very smart learners. They are very, very alert and aware. They are much more updated. But then what they understand out of it, what they interpret out of it, that is where the teachers are required. They need to make sure that the students are understanding that the available knowledge, the available content in the right manner. And this is a big challenge. This is a challenge, yes.
So it takes us to the next question very seamlessly. How to have inclusiveness with the diverse conditions around, and how can educators retain the interest of the students?
Okay, with the see, when we talk of inclusiveness, it is very important for us as educators that we are able to, you know, create the right mindset. And for that, the right mindset has to be there in the teachers themselves. They need to have an unbiased attitude. It's the teachers, ultimately it's the teachers' motivation and the right attitude that keeps the class going. Because if we as role models don't set the right examples, and if we don't connect with the students in the right way, and we have a biased attitude, then definitely with the kind of diverse conditions that are there, it's very difficult to retain the interest of the students in the classrooms. And secondly, it is also, we have to take everybody along. No one should be left behind. That's my call on it, that with the diverse situations, you just can't afford to leave anybody and everybody. We have inclusive setups, we have the diverse background, we understand all that, but then it is the role and responsibility of the teachers. The teacher dons many hats. So as taking on that, looking after that, it is very important that we involve everybody, include everybody, because if we focus our attention on a few in the classroom, then the others are left behind. So the teacher has to have that much of content, that those many things in her basket of activities that involve everybody, so that the students are retained in the classroom. Otherwise, we know, we've seen children around, that how disinterested they get in their academics. And teachers are one of the main reasons for it. I never blame students. I always say it's the teachers who need to understand this, that if they want, they can make the student's life or they can mar the student's life. So their unbiased attitude is what matters. I hope I am able to give the answers to your questions, Mudita.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In fact, so many takeaways are coming up. We'll have a long list. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It's entirely my pleasure.
Thank you so much. So the next question that I put you up is, we've spoken about the inclusivity of the students. Now, how do the teachers, with these cultural changes that are coming in today, that students have a different set of ideas altogether, how do the educators themselves feel inclusive and become a part of the students? Your thoughts on that?
Okay, Mudita, as I just now said, that the educators have to be updated with the latest trends, the latest knowledge, even during this pandemic time, I have myself learned so many things, even though in terms of degrees, I may be having many, but as a learner, one has to be a lifelong learner. Then only we can cope up with these cultural diversities and the updated know-how that the students are having. Because if we rely on our old traditional methods, it's a modernity blending with tradition. That has to be there. That only can include all the teachers, and the teachers will not feel left out. Because yes, educators also at times, they feel they are not able to cope up with the situations, and especially with technology. I'm sure many educators must have learnt how to operate, how to conduct meetings, how to initiate meetings, because that's part of their job. So if you want to work well, if you want to become a great educator, one has to keep updated with and be a constant learner. That's very important, that you have to learn anything and everything that is required with the concern that I talk about for the students. If you're concerned, you'll learn it. If you're not concerned, you will not learn. The basic fundamental is there. If I'm bothered, I will definitely take a step ahead and go out of my way to cater to my learners. No?
Yeah. So it all depends on how you gauge the students, and then act accordingly. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. So, ma'am, the next question now, how do we create such teachers? How are the trainings of such teachers happening? I'm sure that it would be happening 10 years ago also, but it would be very different for with respect to the curriculum or the schedules that the teachers' trainings are happening today. How do you train the teachers to deal with each generation of students?
It's a very interesting question and very close to my heart also, because me being a teacher trainer, all these 25 years I've been training teachers day in and day out. A few things, yes, we have noticed over a period of time that like the attitude of the current generation, the attitude of the earlier future teachers, so to say, there is a difference. Now, of course, they are smart workers. They are very, very keen to learn also. Earlier also they were very keen to learn. But yes, the curriculum that is now being followed is in line with the requirements of the students. It is more child-centered. It is more student-centric than earlier, because now, over the period of time, we've realized that it is the future citizen who has to be catered to, and all the focus of the teacher training is on equipping the teacher with all those qualities, with all those skills, the necessary skills, where the teacher is able, basically the educator is able to bring out the best from the child, and also be able to deliver the best, and create the higher order thinking skills. The focus is there. It's not, see, earlier, our system was very nice. If you have heard of things that in the school, there was like we talk of the Indian brain drain. Why was there a brain drain? Because the Indian brain was sharp. It was developed and inculcated by the teachers in that manner. In between, there was the slag where more focus came on the rote kind of learning. But here again, I emphasize that the teachers need to focus on the development of the higher order thinking skills, making them more creative, making them more analytical and more synthesizing. They need to be having a wider vision, and that is where the teachers need to be trained themselves to create such students. Because once the teachers they are knowing all these things, it is easier for them to bring the children to the mainstream and drive the children towards these higher order skills. Otherwise, when the teachers are not equipped, they don't know what to do with the content they have. And it is very saddening, when we see that in some of the teacher training colleges, the attitude is very casual. They are hardly attending the classes. I personally, I always say that I don't see, you've taken admission into teacher training. Now doing B.Ed or whatever training you want to do, that was your choice. I will only let you go when you have developed all those skills, because I cannot risk the future generation. That's my moral responsibility, basically. That is how I take it. I take it as a moral responsibility, and therefore I ensure personally, and I think every teacher training institute should do that we need to understand that these teachers are going to be floated in the society, and they are the ones who are going to teach the little children, the innocent children from our families only. They are the ones who, the parents, as I have been talking about, that the parents, for them, the children are the most prized possessions, and they trust the children, they hand over the children to the teachers blindly. Now the educators, it is the responsibility of the educators to ensure that the child is getting the right kind of education, and there comes in again the role of teacher training institutes, that they must realize this and provide all the skills and the develop all the qualities in the educator, the future educator, the pupil teacher, or the B.Ed trainee, whatever you may call him or her. But once that person is equipped, once he or she is morally alert, I don't think they would go and spoil the lives of the future citizens. They would understand the role and the responsibility that they have to carry forward. They are nation builders. We call them the pillars of the society. So as nation builders, as pillars of the society, it's very important that, and the master educators like us, at the teacher training institutes, we need to instill that fire. The fire has to be lit, and then the rest of the things can be done.
So true. So how has the curriculum evolved for teacher training over these years, ma'am? Can you throw some light on that?
Keeping in mind, yes, keeping in mind the needs of the society, the kind of future citizens we want. The curriculum is led by the kind of society we want. Like in the corporates, we say that this is the kind of employees we want, and therefore they need to be trained that way. Now, when we talk of the society and the nation, what kind of citizens do we require? The curriculum comes from there. We need to incorporate all those things in the teacher training curriculum, which will ensure that the future citizens are imbibing all those qualities, because that is where it is going to be applied. The theoretical aspect and the practical aspect, that training is given to the pupil teachers, the future teachers. And when they go into the actual real life teaching, they go into the schools, it is there which is where they have to apply all this. So if that knowledge is not gained in the proper manner, and if they don't learn how to apply that can only come with the rigorous practical training that we give, the internship that we give which is a very integral part of the teacher training course. And that is the reason why all the teacher training courses have to be approved by NCTE. NCTE is the National Council for Teacher Training, Teacher Education. And therefore, it is mandatory that they adhere to the standards and the norms set up, which are in consonance with the needs of the society. So the curriculum is very well structured, and in fact, if you talk of us, we do add value to it. We have value addition courses, like, as I said, one of the important skills is communication skills. So the communication skills are enhanced for the future teachers so that they in turn may transact that. Then the behavioral sciences, we talk of the behavioral sciences, they need to know it themselves. One of the papers is focusing on the spiritual development of teachers, as well as spiritual and ethical development of teachers as well as learners. So that is where we focus on. So once the teachers, the future teachers, they come to know of all these things, I'm sure they would definitely be willing to, they understand the value, so they'll be willing to apply it for the children in the school. And we will be having a better society. We always talk about if every individual in the society is good, the society ultimately becomes good. So that is the philosophy that I work on. So I try and contribute to that.
Yeah, I think NEP has also given quite a high weightage to teachers training. Have they included technology as well as part of their curriculum?
Absolutely, they have included technology, they've included values, the value education, the technology base, the ICT, all that has been included, and it's been given emphasis. Side by side, it is also the talking of the Indian value system, the Indian knowledge system that has to be. So it's a blend. That's, as I said, it is modernity blending with tradition. So while we are on one side trying to keep pace with the current trends and the disruptive technologies that are very much here, just before say 11 months back, I was teaching this paper of disruptive technologies, and we were talking about augmented learning, we were talking about artificial intelligence, and we were talking about the different apps and all. And here, with the corona, we are all following it. It's there, very much there, ingrained into the system. That's what I was talking to my students also about it. You see how things change, how time changes. We've seen all.
Yeah, so Corona has just sped up the transformation.
Yes. It's a
That's what it has
drastic
done.
transformation. Yes, it is a very, very great transformation, Mudita. True, very true. Yes.
Good to know, ma'am. The last point that we should touch upon is how can assessment best support the next generation learning?
Consideration and therefore the assessment.
Let me reframe it a bit, ma'am.
Yes.
How
Yes.
how has the assessment pattern been revised and upgraded with respect to teacher training?
I was just coming to that. I was just moving to that. With the latest trends, of course, the assessment pattern has changed to the to become more diverse. One thing, because with the kind of curriculum that we are offering, with the kind of transformation that has come in, obviously, as given the point earlier also, that we prefer now focusing not only on the base. Normally we follow the Bloom's taxonomy, right, where it is the knowledge. See, education focuses on the cognitive, affective and the psychomotor aspects, right? That is the basic purpose of education, that to develop all the three domains. When we talk of the cognitive domain, it is the not only at the knowledge level, not only at the understanding level, but going down deeper to assess the higher order skills in the students. That is where, because that is what is required as part of the assessment. You know, mugging up things and delivering them may be different. Now the pattern of assessment has changed in the terms that it has become more in depth, and we are trying to provide them all those opportunities where the different aspects of assessment come out, like it's the application part. In many places, in fact, if I talk about ours, we have changed the pattern. Now the questions are more case based, because see, the examinations also we have to have online, and now this online thing is going to stay. It's not going to go away, so we have to be a little more alert, whether it is online, whether it is offline. If the pattern of questions is more case based, situation based, more application based, where the children are able to utilize their reasoning and thinking and logical skills, that is where we will be able to assess their true potential and their overall understanding of the transacted curriculum. So this is one thing. And yes, in order to ensure that everything is done in the online mode also, multiple choice questions are there. For that, in-depth learning is required. Children just, if it is a hit and miss, then that's different. The approach is different. But then in order to answer the multiple choice questions in a proper manner, the student is required to have an in-depth knowledge. One can't be superficially knowing things and just guessing. So that's again one aspect. Then analytical and reasoning part, working in projects, applying the knowledge, all that is part of the assessment. And this is how we try and assess the knowledge of the students. And likewise, again, taking that feedback, we move further and bring about innovations and changes in our patterns of further transactions, because that provides the feedback.
There is this growing divergence between the curriculum and the skill demand, right? So you've briefly touched upon the contribution of educators to how can the Indian educators bridge the growing divergence between the curriculum and the skill demand? Is there a way that the educators can contribute to bridge that gap?
Yes, absolutely. And for that purpose, it is very important that we have the Industry Academia Connect. That enables us, what is required, what is the demand of the industry, what is required by the schools, what kind of teachers are required, and likewise the teacher training institutes, how they are training the teachers, what are the components that they touch upon, what are the components that are included as part of the teacher training. that connect, that bridges the gaps. And on the other hand, this is the industry academy on one side where the educators and the school is concerned. Now, when the future teachers who are trained and who are going to the school to teach, now that gap also has to be bridged, because what is the demand of the school, what is the demand of the students, that has to be understood by the budding teacher. So that again, that budding educator, it is the real responsibility again of the teacher training institutes to give them that kind of exposure where they are able to, through their internships, they are able to go and see the situations themselves, teach in those situations. It's not only the classroom interaction, but overall atmosphere, blending and gelling with the overall atmosphere of the schools. And that is the purpose where why we give them rigorous internship, where they are observing. Lot of lessons are being learned through observation. They are observing the existing teachers. They are interacting with the principals, knowing the management's approach, interacting with the other staff and faculty, seeing the different aspects in the school premises, so that that real feel is there. It's not only the theoretical knowledge that is going to help, but it is the real feel of the situation. It's not, we do go in for micro teaching, we go in for simulated lessons, but then the real is real, when the real life experiences are there. Once the teachers go, we try and give them the holistic education, the all-round development of the future teachers, so that that gap is bridged, and that includes an interaction with the industry. For us, the industry is the school. So we do have that blend of industry academia interaction, where the school also lets us know what kind of future teachers are required. We as such have to keep a wider vision. And as part of my duties, I do that, having a wider vision to understand where is the gap, how we can bridge it, how we can really be fruitful for the society. It's not something just training teachers and sending them to the industry. They're not manufacturing anything as such. They are creating citizens. So the moral responsibility is too great. We just can't afford. I always say that the doctors, the medical practitioners and the teachers, they can't afford to be casual. No way that they can afford to be casual, because we are nurturing citizens, we are grooming citizens of the society, and the society is what we make it.
Thank you for that thought, ma'am. Any final takeaways from you that our listeners can benefit from?
Okay, takeaways in the sense, see, I always emphasize on one thing, that whatever, if we are in this profession, it's such a noble profession, and especially training teachers is such a noble profession. It all depends on us. If people listening to me, if they are training teachers, I would definitely like to tell them that please do justice. Give them, see, it is not, again, whether it is pupil teachers or whether they are students in the classroom, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, it is the trainer who's always in the wrong. If the students are coming to me and if I don't give them the right knowledge and the education, then it's my fault entirely. I take the onus of that fault. But then that is where I always want to tell them that please do justice. Do not take it too casually. I think they should not play with lives. That's my honest call that I have. And similarly for the teachers in schools, see, the parents are blindly trusting you with their most prized possessions. The child is the most prized possession for any parent. Whatever kind of child it is, even if it is the naughtiest of all, but still for the parents it's the most precious one. So the teachers need to give their best. They need to go that extra mile, show that extra concern, and be a mentor, initiator, facilitator. Take the onus of the life. It is. I believe that it is a divine connect between a teacher and a taught. So maintain the gravity and the intensity of that connect. That's what I would like to share. Maybe there is a difference of opinion. People may blame students, but I always feel that if they knew everything, they would not come to us. If they have come to us, that means we need to do our duty well.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This was such an engaging event, such a wonderful session. And we wish you a great success in your endeavor, in your future career, your future life, and the future that you're going to create out of the teachers and students per se. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mudita. And I hope I've been able to satisfactorily give the answers to all your questions. In case anything else is left, I'm here. Not only for this session, but otherwise also. If I can serve anybody, it will be my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time today.